Hi, Stephanie here. I'm here with Ross Mitchell, Senior Vice President of Strategy and Business Development. Hi, Ross.
Hello, Stephanie.
I wanted to talk to you a little bit about regional routes and fleets. Recently, over the last 6 months, we've seen this resurgence of CRJ550s getting reconfigured to 550s. And I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about, can you tell us what's really sparking this new configuration and why are airlines doing this?
Yeah, there are a lot of 50-seat routes in the United States. And the issue has always been that the 50-seat aircraft that were available could not provide appropriate first-class, business-class travel. And so what the CRJ550 does is it really brings the amenities of a mainline aircraft onto the regional 50-seat routes. They're already there on 76-seat routes, but it was the 50-seat routes that were really lacking that business-class amenities. And so the 550 does that in the 50-seat market.
Let's take a step back a little bit and maybe give some context to scope clause.
Sure.
Can you walk us through what is scope clause, what are the repercussions of it, and the market that it created?
Sure. So scope is really about an agreement between the mainline airline and their pilots union, and it restricts the type and number of aircraft that they can fly at the regional level. Every one of the three major airlines in the U.S. has a different scope. So when you talk about scope, it's not universal. Each of them has a different one, but two of the airlines have a scope clause restriction at 50 seats, which is 50 seats and 65,000 pound max takeoff weight. That's in addition to the scope which exists at 76 seats and 86,000 pounds. So there's a number of aircraft you can fly in those two categories. The 550 satisfies the small regional jet scope, which is 50 seats, 65,000 pounds maximum takeoff weight.
Thank you for that. Let's talk about GoJet a little bit. GoJet was the sole provider airline of this wonderful premium passenger experience. And now we have SkyWest also now dipping into this market. What's your take on it?
Yeah, it really reflects the popularity of the aircraft that now the major airlines are asking another operator to configure aircraft in the 550 version to, again, fulfill some of the network needs in the 50-seat routes. So it's important that you understand that, by going beyond the single operator and getting another operator there, it's really growth of that market. And again, 50-seat routes are very important in the U.S. domestic network. And, the only way really to provide a dual class product on those routes is with the CRJ700. It's the only larger regional jet that's capable of meeting the scope clause in terms of max takeoff weight and providing those amenities for 50-seat configurations.
I'm really happy you said that, because I feel like if someone ever said, hey, let's take out a whole bunch of seats and we'll make the airline more profitable, they would sound a little crazy, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, well, it turns out that if you can replace the seats with some premium seats and get that yield from the premium traffic, that actually can be better than having additional seats in the back of the cabin. So it's really about providing the amenities, capturing the yield that's available to you there. And that's valuable to the airlines. It's valuable to the cities that are being served, because now you're providing the appropriate level of service on all segments within the network.
Of course. No, it's a very smart move, and it's been very successful, and we're seeing that right now.
We are. It's been a very successful product for us. The demand on CRJ700 and 550, we only made a certain number of aircraft, and there's a big demand now for that aircraft to capture both the 700 market, which is often 65 and 70 seats, as well as that 50-seat market.
What's going to happen with this market segment as fleets come closer to retirement age?
Well, the good thing about the CRJ is it's designed for a long life, and most of the aircraft aren't even at their half-life yet. So there's many, many more years to go with the CRJ platform. And like I said, 450-seat routes with the dual class, 700 is the only airplane available. There is nothing else in the market today that can replace it under that scope requirement, and so it will continue to fly. There will be a requirement at some point in the future for a new aircraft that can fly in those segments.
And knowing how much they're in need for the main lines and for air service in general in North America, are you seeing great potential for this market to keep growing and maybe evolving into a different platform?
The vast majority of airports and cities in the United States are served by regional traffic, right? And some some states are exclusively served by regional traffic. So it's very important to the overall national transportation network that these airplanes and these routes continue to be served. And so we see a large potential for an aircraft that can come in and meet the requirements of 50 and 76 seat scope.
That's really insightful. Thank you so much, Ross. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Register for our blog, follow us online.